pouring cats and dogs. Thank you. I was afraid that I might come here and stand for a teacher or something. It's really nice to have a full room. I want to ask some people here some questions. Who here failed grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in school? Any of you? Anyone failed grades 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in school? Never finished school? Any of you burned down your parents' house? Half of it? Any of you? No? Any of you been arrested more times than you want to think of before you turned 18? No. Did their first B&E at 10 years old? No. Got drunk at 9? Started doing drugs at 12? Anybody? Anybody here get sentenced to 12 years in prison in the Middle East for possession of narcotics? Well, when you look in the book of failure and you see the definition, it says to me, go look in the mirror. Because that's me. First impressions are very important. When I walk out here, people look, I look very successful. But I'm also a successful failure. So I failed at a lot of things in my life. As a child, I came into this world that was really strange. I was sold as a baby, which was really ironic. And I'm not joking. It was a black market era, and my parents were well off, and they were able to purchase me. They didn't realize that on my butt, there was a no refund, no return policy. And they had no clue what they were getting themselves into. I feel sorry for my parents, what I put them through. And by the time I was 8 years old, my mother came into the house one day and she said, picture this little 8-year-old boy. I'm going to use this graphic stuff. Cute little boy. Look at me. Cute. A lot younger. Okay. Face is better and all that. And she said, Lorne, we want to tell you where you came from. We found you in a garbage can. If you misbehaved, we're going to throw you back. That's how I found out I was adopted. My parents were trying to control my behavior by telling me I was garbage. And years later, when I was 29 years old, I'm going to jump up a bit. I had to make some serious decisions in my life. And I wanted to, because I couldn't walk anymore, I developed a tumor on my foot from doing mountain rescue, and I had to go for topical chemotherapy, and I started to learn how to crawl, because I was crawling on my hands and feet every day. And I made a decision at that time that I was going to change my life, that things could be better for me. And so I decided I'm going to order myself a motivational tape by Anthony Robbins, and I listened to him and I said, yeah, bring on, I can do it. I can go to university. Wait a second, I failed grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to university. So I call up the university, and I tell them, and they said, if you go to CJEP and you pass one course, we'll accept you. On my crutches, I hollered every week. I passed the one course. I went into Cocaine Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous, CODA. I went into outpatient therapy. I became a disciple of an Indian guru. I read every self-help motivation book there was out there. So what are you willing to do to get what you want in life? While I was in university, I called up one of the hospitals, Douglas Hospital in Montreal. It's a psychiatric institution. And I told them who I was. And they said, we have a room for you. We've been waiting for you for years. I said, no. I'm not here to check in. I want to volunteer. I want to help. And so they knew I had a sports background. So what they said to me was, we have a client here. We'd like you to fix you up with him. And maybe you can help him. And so for the next 6 months, I went bowling with him. And I was swimming. And sometimes I would show up and he'd be wearing a straight jacket. And I'd knock on the window, go coffee, and turn around and walk away. Week after week, I came back. In 6 months, I got released from the Douglas Hospital and took group home. So, of course, I followed him. And at the group home, they said, we're going to put him back into the Special Olympics. Would you like to join me with him? So I said, okay. And so I went to the Special Olympics, and I can't just sit around. I have to get myself involved in everything. So I became an assistant coach. And I said to myself, one day, I'm going to be the biggest coach of the largest program in the country. Drug addicts sometimes have egos. But also be very careful what you ask for in life, because it happens, it comes true. Within 2 years, I was the head coach of the largest sports program in Canada for the Special Olympics. I had over 100 athletes. I became a communications expert, because everyone of my athletes communicate differently. Some of them are nonverbal, and if they attack me, they could kill me, and nothing would happen to me. So I had to learn how to really communicate with people. I became a crisis intervention specialist for families with kids with drug addiction and ADD. Now I found out I self-diagnosed by myself. I went to see a doctor, they put me on Ritalin, my marks went from D's and C's to A's. I wasn't stupid. I was self-medicating. All those years when I was younger, and all the drugs I did, I was self-medicating. It was crazy. But I did something that I never thought I could do, and I surprised myself. After 6 years of university, I was standing on the podium. I got my degree in psychology. My parents were in the audience. My father and mother took out a life insurance policy on me when I was 18. They didn't think I was going to live. Instead of investing in therapy for me, they invested in the casket. Well, I outlived both of them, and I cashed in the policy. So, I'm awful. Now, for the last 8 years, I'm going to just jump up again because I never expected to have kids. People like me, I would counsel, do not have kids. I am just a kid myself, and I have more psychological problems, and I knew what to do with it. By the time I finally, got things going in my head, things were going good. I met my wife at university. She was normal. She never did drugs, alcohol, and she went through the whole system of schools. And what I found out in the end, just because you don't do drugs doesn't mean you're normal. Now, one day after 14 years with my wife, she comes home and she goes, I want a baby. I go, excuse me? You want a baby? Hey, Dave. And so I said, okay, I want a baby. I don't know what to do about a baby. I can't say I'm screaming kids. To me, a screaming child is a perfect ad for birth control. And a couple of years ago, I was laying under the blankets quivering. There was a monster on the other side of that blanket. It was a 2-year-old baby, and she was crying and screaming. You know what these are? This saved my daughter's life. Noise-reducing headphones. I put these on, I don't hear her crying. It doesn't bother me. When there's a will, there's a way. You will find the way. One day, my daughter stops crying. I go to put them on her head, and I start yelling my head off. She realizes, he can't hear me. The next time, she starts crying, and I go to put them on. She stops crying. Because she knows I can't hear her. Then, one day, me and my wife are fighting. And what does she do? My daughter goes and puts these on. This is my little girl. Now, another day, ladies, please, I'm going to start undressing. Oh, it's hot out here. It's really hot. I got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And so, by the way, I'm making up the speech on the spot, so please, bear with me. But one day I'm sitting with my daughter, and we're watching TV. Now, I never expected to become a stay-at-home dad. I live up in the country. I'm secluded with my daughter 5 days a week. My wife comes up on the weekends, and unfortunately this year we separated in January. So my worst nightmare of becoming a parent was complicated by becoming a single parent, because now I threw my wife out, and she has to be support me. It's really weird. It's the whole opposite way. Yeah. There's no service for single dads at my age, in case you throw out the breadwinner, because she'd be the breadwinner. So one day I'm watching TV with my daughter, and my daughter says, Daddy, you see the commercial? I go, yeah. And she goes, that's one of those, oops, how do I do this here? Oh, Jane, I didn't do this, I didn't think of this, Jane. Okay, but I'll show you what happened. Just fall off here. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, anyways, underneath the shirt. My daughter looked at my stomach and said, Daddy, guess what? You should order that tape. I said, why? She said, you need abs. I don't want to work. One of those things, those crazy commercials. So what I did was, there's a will, there's a way. I found on China, Superman shirt. These abs goes, abs of steel. Yeah. Now, honestly, I will have to start working on this, because one of the challenges, I'm 59 years of age. I'm going to be 60 this year, and my daughter is going to be 18 when I'm 72. And I have a mission to live until I'm 72 so I can watch my wife pull out her hair and she tries to raise a mini-me